Alright, I'm just going to briefly show you how to um, basically create a Pages document and send it to me. So the first thing you'll need to do is go into the course that you're currently working on and open up the document on the left-hand side that corresponds to what you're going to be, whichever Pages document you're going to be working with. So here I am in 740, and I'm going to edit the Pages document for Unit 5. Alright, so I need to go over here and open up the Unit 5 Prezi script on the left-hand side. So I'll see that pop up here in just a second. Alright, so this is going to be my guide for while I'm creating everything. So the other thing you'll need to do is download and open up the Pages document. To do that, you're going to go to the little green Pages Docs section, and at the very bottom it says Download Files here. So it says click the link to download the Pages document for your assigned unit. Email the completed file when you are done. Alright, so I'm going to click on this, click on it again, and come on, little computer. And it's going to open up the link for me here in just a second. There we go. Click on it, link appears, and it takes me right into my own Dropbox account. So I'm going to go to Unit 5 and click on Unit 5 for the Pages document, and I'm going to download it. Okay, when I download it, I'm not just going to simply open it. What I need to do is, and I'm using Google Chrome, but I need to go into my Finder or into my Downloads folder. So in this case, I have my Downloads folder right here, and in it is my Unit 5 or Pages document. All right, so what I'm going to do is right-click on the document itself, and I'm going to choose Open With. And in this case, I have two Pages programs I can use. Pages 5.2, so this is the Pages version 5, and Pages version 4.3. All right, I want to open it with version 4. So I'm going to click Pages 4.3, and in just a second, it'll open it and launch it. There it goes. All right, so here's Pages version 5 that I'm going to be using. All right, so a couple of important points. On the left-hand side in the upper left, there's a tiny little blue button for your paragraph styles. So you're going to want to make sure your paragraph styles are open. And inside of those paragraph styles, you'll see the 740 citation header, 740 heading, 740 link, AAD body, and AAD body citation reference. There's also another one down here called vertical date to, which we're also going to use as well. Alright, so here's what we're going to do to get started. Oh, the other thing too is the inspector. Over here on the right hand side, this little blue button with the I is the inspector, and that brings up our little inspector box, which we'll use for a couple of different things when editing the Pages document. Alright, so here's the content for the Pages document. The very first thing you need to do is change the unit content on the left hand side here. So this is unit title. This is the unit title for Unit 1. We obviously are not in Unit 1, we're in Unit 5. So the title is conveniently located down here for you. So what I would suggest doing is highlighting the title while it's still here in the script, and going over to the vertical date to and clicking on that. So see how it changes the text over, and it also justifies it over here to the right. So I'm going to then hit Command X and delete it out. I'm going to go over here to my little Unit 1, and I'm going to Command V. After I've highlighted everything, hit Command V, and that'll paste it in for me. So here's Unit 5. Now if it doesn't fit all the way, you can always grab this little bar and drag it up or down to help it fit a little bit better to make sure you get all of the text. Alright, so now that I've changed the title on the left hand side, I'm going to click it, Control copy or Command copy it, and I'm going to change that for every single page in my document. So in this case, I'm going to delete this out, Command V, and paste the new Unit 5. So delete it out, Command V, delete it out, Command V, etc., etc., through every single page in the document. So I'm going to go all the way down to the very last page and put that in there. All right, and that's the first thing you're going to do. The second thing you're going to do is go through the text and review it for any headings and titles and stuff that you need to change. So I'm going to go ahead and delete out all of this content except for the word Unit Overview. Alright, so I'm going to click on the word Unit Overview, and in the upper left hand corner on my paragraph styles, I'm going to change this into the 740 heading. Now, it may say 750 or 699 or 540 or something like that. But in this case, we're currently in the course 740, so we're going to change it to the heading. And notice how it changes the style, the size, and the color. I'm going to do the same thing for unit content and change that to a heading. And I'm just going to take that extra space out so that it flows nicely into the text. Now, the other thing I want to point out is, and I've done this before, which is why I know it, but here this text needs to be bulleted. And what I would suggest doing is, as you're going through the document, have your Google spreadsheet or the Google Prezi script open so that you can see where things are bulleted when they need to be. So after completing this unit, students will be able to utilize online prospects. So yeah, I see this part right here needs to be bulleted just like it is over here on the left. So to bullet it, you're just going to go and highlight all of the text that needs to be bulleted, go up to the upper right-hand corner, there's a little drop-down box, and I'm going to choose Bullet. Alright, and then I'm going to tab twice, 1, 2, and it tabs it over nicely. Alright, so as I go through there, I'm just going to keep my eye open for those kinds of changes. Alright, now for unit topics, I'm going to delete the word unit topics. You don't need unit topics in there because the very first thing with this number 1 is our first subject. So I'm going to go up to heading, change the heading, and take the space out. Alright, and I'm just going to scroll through here. Now a couple of times when you're looking through these documents, you're going to see bullet points that are there from before. You're going to remove those bullet points simply by highlighting and deleting. You're going to re-highlight them, go up to your little bullets, drop down, click on bullet, and then tab over twice. Okay, and you're going to do that every single time you see this. So here's my bullets, like this. Now this one has some sub-bullets on it, so I'm just going to grab the first couple of bullets, tab those over twice, and then I'm going to turn these into the sub-bullets by highlighting these as well, turning them into bullets, and then tab 1, 2, and 3 times over, just like so. Alright, now other things that will happen, sometimes you'll see text that pops above the page and when it should be connected to the text on a separate page. So you're just going to simply hit enter a couple of times and just make sure it all comes together. So here's a couple more bullets that I'm going to delete out. Add the bullets, tab over twice, and you'll get the hang of this as you get more familiar with it. Also, take out any extra spaces. Make sure there's only one space between different sections. Now, the other thing to pay attention to is over here on the left. You want to make sure that you're getting all of the sub-headings. So, for example, finding potential donors is a subheading. So up here, I have this finding potential donors. If it's a subheading, you're just going to bold it. So Command B automatically bold this content. All right, and also in seeking is not supposed to be a bullet point, so I can take that out and then add a space there. All right, so as you're going through, also you may see additional subheadings. You can bold those as you come to them. You may also see links to other content. Now in this case, here's my number 2 heading. This is my main heading, not a subheading. And then below that is another subheading. So in this case, I would add a space there just because it looks a little congested like this. So I'll add my little space right there. There we go. And then I'll change all of this as well. And I would, of course, bold these because they're subheadings, like so. All right, so let me see if I can find a link in this document to something on the World Wide Web. See if I can find something. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of links available in the content, but this one, there we go. So as I'm scrolling down and looking for content, I'm going to look for links. There we go. There's a link right here. So here, the links will always start with all caps, visit, and then it'll have the website that you need to go to or a title of where you should go to. Now in this case, it is a website that you need to go to. So the website is iwave.com. So what you can do is highlight the actual URL. Now I'm going to cut it out or delete it. I'm going to highlight this text that needs to be linked. Don't highlight the visit, just highlight the text. And then you're going to go up here to your little inspector, and you're going to choose this little blue arrow on the far right-hand side, a little blue circle with a white arrow in it. When I do that, I want to click the Enable as a hyperlink option, and in the URL, I'm going to Command V and paste in that iwave.com. That's all you have to do. Now it is a hyperlink, and when I click on this, it'll automatically take me to iwave.com, which is the website being referenced here. All right, now the other thing you have to do is set this little link up so that it's very visible to the students, so they know that it's there. So the way to do that is to double tab over to give it plenty of space. I also like to hit enter one time just to give it plenty of room. And then I'm going to simply highlight it, go over to my paragraph styles, and I'm going to choose my link or read watch option. Double click on that. Double clicking it basically forces it to look exactly how you want. So if you single click it, I don't know if you noticed that before, but that's what a single click looks like. See how that link is still a dark blue color? We don't want it to do that. We want to double click it here so that we force it to do what we want it to do. All right? Now the other thing that we need to do is, let me close up that. The other thing is to add an arrow here. So at the very, very top of our document, on the second page, there's always going to be a little arrow there. I'm going to go ahead and Command X and delete that out because we don't need that there. I'm going to scroll down to my visit iwave.com. I'm going to Command V, and there's that little arrow. I'm going to take the arrow and I'm going to put it as center as possible on the text. So that is a very clear indication that there is a link there that the students can go to. All right, now that's how you go through and edit and change all of the text. Here's several more links in here. So again, you're going to double click it. You're going to change the link here. So I'm going to Control X and remove any extra icons like colon or any images or whatever. I'm going to go up to my Finder, or I'm sorry, my Inspector. I'm going to go ahead and go to the little link inspector, enable it as a hyperlink so it turns it blue, and then I'm going to choose to paste in that specific link. All right, now the next step is to highlight it, double click the read watch link, all right, maybe add a space there to give it some breathing room. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to Control C and copy that little triangle and Command V it down here and place it right next to where it needs to go. Okay? And I can use the arrow buttons to kind of fine-tune where it goes and all that stuff. All right, great. So that's adding in the links. This is probably the last thing you should do because what I'm about to show you now is adding in images, and this is very important. So images should always go on the second page. The first page already has a really large image, so you don't need it there. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the images that I currently have saved in my Finder window. So here are those images, and here I am in Unit 5. I have Part 1, or Image 1, Image 2. I can simply take these images from my desktop, drag them, and drop them in. Now you'll notice that it covers over everything. That obviously isn't what we want to do. So what we're going to do at this point is resize it a little bit so that it'll fit a little bit better on the screen. Usually about maybe a half the size of the page. And then I'm going to cut it. So Command and X to cut it out. Then I'm going to go to the beginning of one of these paragraphs. And typically I like to do this at the very first paragraph. I'm going to highlight and make sure that little blinking cursor is there. I'm going to Command V and I'm going to paste the image in. Now this obviously doesn't look very good. So what we need to do is, using our inspector again, we're going to click on the image. So you see these little white dots pop up that indicates that it's been selected. Then we're going to go to the third icon over from the left. It's called the Wrap Inspector. I'm going to click on that little icon, and then I'm going to choose Object Causes to Wrap. So I'm going to click on that little checkbox, and notice how the image pops into place. Now, one of the things that I have it set here for is to show text above it and below it, but not next to it. And I actually want text to be next to it. So I'm going to choose it to wrap, and I'm going to have it left justified over here. So I'm going to click it to left justify, and all of the text will wrap around the entire image. That looks perfect. Now, if I wanted to, I can make it a little bit bigger or smaller to maybe fit a little cleaner. That's totally fine. I usually put about one image on a page. All right, so I'll go down here to the second page. Now, notice I have plenty of space here, so I'm going to go ahead and just delete that out. And then I'm going to put another image, and I'll put it right here. Okay, so I'm going to grab my second image for this page, drag it, drop it. Okay, I'm going to resize it a little bit to fit a little better. I'm going to Command X to cut it out. I'm going to put it right here. So I'm going to double click in the text, and notice that little blinking cursor flashes. I'm going to put it right in front of this paragraph and Command V, or paste it. Okay, select the image, cause the object to wrap, and in this case, I'm going to right justify it because I left justified it above. So it just gives a little bit more of a visual interest as you go through it. All right, if you ever wanted to move this, let's say, for example, this didn't fit very well right here in this spot, you can take that image, and notice the image is right here, located right here by the word for. That's where that little blue cursor is. That's because that's where the image is currently anchored to. I can grab that and I can move the mouse. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little cursor that follows me around. So over here on the left-hand side, that little cursor is on that side. When I drop it in, it pops all the text around it, and it adds the cursor in that new place. That's now where it's anchored. All right, so that looks a little bit cleaner. I like that a little bit better. All right, so as soon as you're done putting in the images, you're going to need to find the references, because at the very end of our document, that's where we put our image references. So in this case, I'm going to delete out the one that I currently have in there. I don't need that in there anymore. I'm going to go back into my document. So let me find my Google document. There it is. Now I need to find these images and their references. So I need the images of the people given a cheer here. So I'm going to scroll through and find this. Now if you kept any of this information, you can find it a lot faster by searching through your email, maybe the email that you sent to me. Alright, so let me see where this is. I'm sure I missed it above. Okay, I can feel it getting closer. Anytime now. Okay, alright, so here's one of our images right here. So what I want to do is highlight. This is the image reference with the number 7, so I can see the number 7 next to it right here. So I'm going to grab the number 7 image reference, Command C and copy it, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to paste this in. Command V it. Oh, did it twice. Alright, so there it is. I'm going to add a space, and then I'm going to find the next image, which is right here. So this is the very first one. Highlight it and copy it, and I like to try to keep it in order of how they appear. There we go. So now I have one space in between the two. Now I just highlight all of that text, and I go over here to my paragraph styles, and I add the body citation reference. I double click it. Alright, now they're perfectly sized, and they'll all be spaced evenly in here, referencing all of the images. Alright, so that's all you have to do. As soon as you're finished with all of this editing and putting all this content together, all you have to do is take the original file that you've been editing. So in my case, this is the file I've been editing called Unit 5. I'm going to take that and I'm going to email it to, or you will take that and email it to me. My email address is jeremystifler@uky.edu. And if you have any questions, you can send any questions to that same email address, jeremystifler@uky.edu. Hope this has been helpful, and thank you.